Come. The game is afoot, not a word. Into your clothes and come. I'll wait for you in the sitting room. I've just received a note from Inspector Lestrade, a letter from the suburbs. He is in need of my presence. Whenever he has asked for my assistance, it has always turned out to be entirely justified. I fancy that every one of his cases has found its way into your collection.
Yes, they all seem worthy of...
However, I regret your fatal habit of looking at everything from the point of view of a story instead of a scientific exercise.
Oh, Holmes, you...
I beg your pardon, I digress. It would be much better to examine this letter than to try to convince you.
Oh, she's still staring at me. Toby! Hello, Toby.
I agree with you,
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's shoe is preferable to Mrs. Hudson's cold cuts. This is where I keep my...
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
Letter.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
I'm trying to find the table.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
Letter. There we are.
I can tell from Lestrade's handwriting that he was in a hurry when he wrote this letter. A wax seal with the monogram E.B. The Brackenstall family coat of arms.
My dear Mr. Holmes, I should be very glad of your immediate assistance in what promises to be a most remarkable case. It is something quite in your line. Except for releasing the lady, I will see that everything is kept exactly as I have found it, but I beg you not to lose an instant, as it is difficult to leave Sir Eustace there. Yours faithfully, Inspector Lestrade.
So, what is it, Holmes?
Promising, as always, it appears to be a case of murder.
So you believe that Sir Eustace is dead?
I should say so. Lestrade wouldn't have sent for me for less. His writing shows considerable agitation, and he is not an emotional man. These people belong to high society. The quality of the writing paper, the E.B. monogram, their coat of arms. The crime was committed before midnight.
Holmes, how can you possibly tell?
Well, it is all thanks to Lestrade. He wrote his letter at 3:30 in the morning. Imagine the chain of events before that. The local police had to be called in. Scotland Yard was notified. Lestrade himself had to make haste there, and finally compose the letter he sent to me. All of that makes for a fair night's work.
It makes sense. Lestrade also speaks of the woman he released.
That seems to indicate that she had been held somewhere during the crime. Much time has been wasted. Let us find a cab and go to Abbey Grange immediately. I live in hope of an interesting morning.
Alright, off to Abbey Grange. We have arrived. I apologise, there could be a little yawning. Ooh.
Ah, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, here you are. I'm very glad that you have come, but perhaps I should not have troubled you after all.
And why is that?
Lady Brackenstall has come to her senses, and she has given so clear an account of the affair that there is not much left for us to do. You remember that Lewisham gang of burglars?
What, the three Randalls?
Exactly. The father and two sons. It's their work. They stole a silver service, which is of great value.
Sir Eustace Brackenstall is dead, then?
Yes. His head was knocked in with his own poker.
A violent act of aggression.
Yes, the poor lady. She has had a most dreadful experience. She was assaulted and tied to a chair. But I think that you would best see her and hear her account of the facts. She's in the morning room with her maid, Teresa Wright.
Where is the body of the deceased?
In the dining room. We haven't touched anything.
All right, I'm going to examine it.
Very good, Watson.
Very good, Watson. Aha!
Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting Inspector Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall. We were married only a year ago.
I am sorry for your loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
I suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one. I fear that all would tell you that, even if I were to attempt to deny it.
She's got a hell of a bruise. Hang on a minute, for some reason, Restream has just decided that it wants to log me out. Hang on a minute, what's going on here? Damn it. Okay, Restream chat is not working. That's a problem. Alright. What happened last night?
Can you describe to me the events of yesterday evening?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that happened.
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30. I sat in this room until after 11, absorbed in a book. Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and... oh God.
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped into the room. Close behind the first man, I saw two others. One of them struck me a savage blow with his fist and felled me unconscious to the ground.
And then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruders?
Yes, I think he had heard them, for he was holding his stick. But they were three, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn. Then my brave Teresa came to my assistance. I fainted.
There's something missing.
Did these three villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard, but you can see for yourself in the dining room.
You mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that was troubling you?
He was not a nice man when he was drunk, and he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
The bruises on your hands are at least 1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
Oh, do you? Yes, he did. He was very angry at the time, out of control. again. Sir Eustace was a drunkard. To be tied to such a man for life is worse than death.
Your ladyship?
Point on the go, Miss Fanny, because the Randalls I know made their appearance very brutal, but successful intrusions on one of the worthier homes in Syntendom. Police are already on their trail, however the details of the crime have been kept confidential, including that the name of the victim. Witness was able to provide a precise description of all three men, and this will surely give the police a chance to complete their profile on this family of delinquents. We should take the limit to reminding our esteemed readers about this highly dangerous band, and to provide the full description as it is at the moment. Guy has been in business for some considerable time, being a family of three, father and his two sons. Elder, Jack Randall, is a man in his 40s, already grey-haired, while of average height and build. Being the mastermind behind the burglaries, he retains control over his sons. Both of whom are very close in age, but very different in appearance. First son, William Randall, is tall and broad-shouldered, with a small, disproportionate head. Young brother, Melvin Randall, is somewhat of a weaker constitution, is as skinny as a rake. Gangs were not only for their frequent thefts and break-ins, but for the exceptionally brutal pirate career they enjoyed before returning to England. Be alert, and may your valuables be safe.
The description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article.
There's something that I'm to find in this area. Now, what is it? Ah.
These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame. This is Sir Eustace's safe. There may be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brackenstall to open it.
Let's have a look at what we got.
This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port, but which one?
Aha!
So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship.
I'm just going to take the picture. Why not? Let's talk to you.
Teresa, I would like to hear your testimony.
Certainly, sir. As I sat by my bedroom window, I saw three men in the moonlight down by the lodge gate. But I thought nothing of it at the time. Oh, if I'd known.
And then?
I went to bed, and it was more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran, to find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed. That's all I know.
Lady Brackenstall.
Lady Brackenstall, could you open this wall safe?
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the combination.
We have to open it. Your ladyship?
Alright, I guess I'm going to break into it.
Let us try to open
Sounds
this
about right.
safe.
I'm sure lady will be fine.
This safe can be cracked. I only have to pay attention. The dial will vibrate when it is set to the correct number.
Yep. Now. Ooh, that's a lot of money. Current physical state is great concern. There are several signs of hepatic decompensation. The latter make your eyes or bloodshot and the skin tinged with yellow. There's a particular odour from your breath that is common with those suffering from liver damage. Then there are the lung absences that we've discussed. The leg cramps you have described to me are caused by anal tutation of the nervous system, which in turn is caused by an excess of alcohol. That includes the tremors. Your liver seems excessively hard at the time of examination, which is a sign of evolving cirrhosis. There are also signs of ascites, fluid in the general cavity, which are evident from the swollen stomach. Pain beneath your rib indicates a pancreatic malady, which may lead to your fatal and fulminant pancreatitis. Your condition may pose a risk to others. Your excessive alcohol consumption lowers your self-control and heightens your aggression. I am available to help with you with this problem. There are a number of treatment options.
Antique coins, possibly of value, but they're scattered without care. Antique coins, possibly of value, but they're scattered without care. It is common practice to keep one's valuables in a safe behind a painting. It should not really pose a challenge for a criminal.
We got cans right, but Mexicans sealed in the Chileans is wrong, and picking with the silver knife is wrong. It's most annoying. Lestrade.
What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
Wipe clean! Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. Hang on a minute. I've got problems with restream chat, so I need to get the individual ones up. So I apologise if you have posted anything. It's yeah, a bit of a mess in there. Alright, what we got here? Testimony. Yeah, the robbery is faked and the whole yeah, I'm absolutely convinced of that right now. He was violent towards his wife. No, those two are not really linked. Okay.
You should examine the body of Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What you already had, Watson. Hello?
It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me.
That is quite a high way up.
So, Watson, what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are no other apparent injuries.
A fur trader's cabin.
Alright, so Eustace. Let's have a look at what you're hiding.
That must be the murder weapon. Quite a large stick, a formidable weapon. Barefoot, he had therefore been in bed and did not have time to fully dress.
Let's have a look at his head. Oh, hello.
The head was cracked with the force of the blow.
What are we missing here? Could have been to a poker blow. Could have been something else it wants me to look at. No.
It is covered in blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is one possible explanation.
Death of his sisters could have been due to his accidentally striking his head on a fireplace grate. If it was, they wouldn't be going through this whole thing to make up the story. Well, you wouldn't have thought so anyway.
A decanter standing next to the open bottle. An inseparable pair indeed. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before being poured. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. It is rather strange that only one of these glasses has dregs of beeswing inside it, while the other two are clear. Chateau Calon Ségur,
don't know how to pronounce
French
that.
wine, Grand Cru. Sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me.
Oh, we're gonna go and get. We're going with that one for now. Oh! Interesting. In which case then, we'll go with that one.
This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied to. The hunting scene. The hunting scene. These wine bottles are expensive and mostly from France. An empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents. This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen.
What else are we missing here? Examine the bottles. What are we missing? We're missing something because it hasn't. Hasn't taken us out automatically like it normally does. So what am I missing here? And also that's not green, so I have missed something. Okay. Alright then, Sherlock. Candlestick. Examine the bottle. Man, something's missing here.
An empty silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents.
Bottle we already got. Bottles. Where are we? Oh, a candlestick.
These wine bottles are expensive and mostly from France.
Drawers are closed. Candlestick. Missing something here. What the hell is it? Yes.
A bottle of wine is
There it
missing
is.
here.
Right from
The criminals did not thoroughly ransack the house. They only took a little silverware. This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there.
Alright, let's go get Toby! Many apologies if I miss your chats, guys. Restream's having a problem, so I don't have all of them in one go. So for that, I apologize. Toby, come here, my boy.
Come on, Toby. We need the best nose in the British Empire.
Oh,
on
tell
this
me I get
case.
to play with the dog. Do I get to beat the dog?
I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's shoe is preferable to Mrs. Hudson's cold cuts.
Back to the Grange. Oh, pardon me. Hey, Toby next. Alright. Pardon me.
Search, Toby.
Ooh. Hey, we get to play as Toby. Toby's on the chase!
The intruders entered the shed for some reason when they were making off with the silverware.
Oh, look at the little doggy! Oh, he's so cute. Not as cute as Sparky though. But then again, I may be slightly jealous.
The scent leads to the well. I should check it.
I love the fact that it's got subtitles.
The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. The criminals left the house through the French window. They walked to the shed, then across to the well, before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a winding route. Brave Toby. The best nose in the British Empire.
Alright, I want to know why they went to the shed.
This hook might be useful. Small gardening tools, nothing of great interest. Bags of seed. Some empty bags were recently moved. This old suitcase sounds hollow. It must be empty.
Alright, well.
There's something glittering at the bottom there, but how can I reach it? Silverware. This is hardly a coincidence. The Brackenstall coat of arms. It appears that we have found the stolen silverware.
Why would they put it in a bag and chuck it down a well? Robbery is confirmed as the motive for the crime. The criminals may have plans to return for the silver they dumped. The robbery could have been imitated to explain St. Eustace's death. The silverware was not supposed to be found. We're looking at an imitated robbery here. So Eustace was murdered by the one person who was visiting that night. It was he who tied up Lady Brackenstall. He is tall and strong. Okay. I think it's time to go and speak to the Lady Brackenstall again. Let's talk to Lestrade a second.
Inspector, I have recovered the stolen silverware.
You are a wizard, Mr. Holmes. And where is it?
In the garden well.
Excuse me?
Unique, isn't it?
Rather absurd. What is the point of stealing silverware and then throwing it down into a well?
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place, or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. It is up to us to solve this mystery.
And I need to go and talk to the one person.
Sir Warthen Brackenstall.
There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, each of them had a glass in his hand. They might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
We found your silverware, Lady Brackenstall. It had not been taken very far.
Is that true? I am very thankful to you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship?
Let's talk to the maid.
Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behaviour.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. A detestable human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to stand up to him in defence of my mistress. Sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead, but a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. Wonder with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it, if ever a woman did. She doesn't have any friends here, so it was specially hard for her.
Silverware.
We found your mistress's silverware.
Oh, that's good news. You really are as clever as they say.
Indeed.
Indeed. Though I had Toby to thank for this one. Lady Maxwell managed to shut after England and remained at home during that time. There's little possibility this young maid are acquainted with anyone in the country. Lady is acquainted with someone from the Rock of Gibraltar. Yeah. Because it was tied with a sailor's knot.
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about all this.
Something.
Antique hunting weapons.
Something not right.
This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there. A deer hunt.
Perform analysis. Alright, let's get back to Baker Street. Di-di-di-di-di-di-di.
Let us see how the rope was cut. The fibers at the end of the rope are smoothly cut. Let us try to find out what tool was used to cut the rope. The fibers from this cut appear to be different.
Very sharp knife. Yeah.
If I cut the rope with a knife, it matches the original.
Rope was cut once with a sharp knife and tied quickly in sailor's knots. That could indicate that the intruder had a sailor's background. The person who was visiting that night was probably a sailor. Great. Search for sailor suspects. How the fudge do we do that?
Brave Toby, the best nose in the British Empire.
Research Rock of Gibraltar. Chemistry, poisons, wounds, communications, martial arts. Probably not going to be any of those. 1893. Rock of Gibraltar's arrival. Rock of Gibraltar, a boat carrier from the Adelaide, Southampton, London line, Cunard Building, James Street, London, has returned for a 6-month voyage through India, New Zealand, and Australia. The ship brought to England Miss Mary Fraser, the heiress of the Fraser family, owning land and tin mines in Australia. This reportedly beautiful young lady is presently engaged to Sir Yusuf Bagstall, one of the wealthiest gentlemen in Kent.
Here it is. The shipping company, the Adelaide, Southampton, London line, and its address. Interesting. It must be the place where they keep the records, including the one for the crew of the Rock of Gibraltar.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard, they'll give it to you without any problems.
But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
Wiggins!
Brave Toby, the best... Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
I need a register, my young friend. If you could borrow it, there will be half a guinea for every one of you. I need the crew list of the Rock of Gibraltar in 1893 and their current employment.
I'm straight on it, Mr. Holmes.
Do you really think they'll find it, Holmes?
My secret police is better than the Yard in many ways.
In just a couple of hours.
Here it is, Mr. Holmes. But we can't take it back. It's too risky.
Put it on the table. I'll take care of it. Good work, young Wiggins.
Alright, let's have a look.
This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor. And these are the lists of the senior officers of the Adelaide, Southampton, London Line ships. Let us find out who was in London upon November the 7th. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case.
Departed November 10th.
Mr. Jack Crocker was in London upon the date of the crime, and he is due to depart in 2 days. This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage.
They weren't in London then. Neither was that one. Neither was that one. So that's it. It's Mr. Jack Crocker.
This list I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. This
Don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
This list shows the senior Mr. Jack Crocker was in London upon the date of the crime, and he is due to depart in 2 days. This list
Don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
Captain Jack Crocker is our mysterious visitor. He was the only one around at the time of the murder.
Need to go find him.
This Crocker, do you think...
It would be interesting to meet him. Our young friend should be able to find him.
Wiggins, got a job for you.
Wiggins, could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here? Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
Sometime later. What is it with bringing sailors back to my house?
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why. You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her. from when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You... and what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right if there was no evidence.
What then?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right
That's
now.
true.
Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Sharp. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
At night.
It was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
I'm sure that he can.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No, there is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you dissected the bell rope.
Now, he wasn't afraid. Which means it wasn't a sailor. No. No. Still think robbery was imitated. I think the Mirandas are being blamed. Something isn't right. Doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't make sense, though.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
Please leave my Mary alone. She's so...
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about all this.
No. Something is missing here. The robbery was faked. I don't seem to have... But there's nothing else. I can't see anything else. Gotta arrest him.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
I know because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear, and it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it. Now it is time to end this.
Oh.
You should have let me die. How can I live if Mary suffers?
I am sorry, Captain Crocker, but there has been quite enough death in this case.
Ooh.
Inspector, I give you Sir Eustace's killer. He tried his best to perform his own justice.
Well, I'm not surprised. Yes, it was me. I confess.
Here is a piece of evidence that can be used in court.
Perfect. A case that went smoothly for once.
So Eustace was murdered by Jack Crocker. Staged robbery with Randall Gang, used a sea knife, hid the silverware. Captain is the killer. I genuinely don't know how you could have come to any other conclusion. Law Protector. The Kew Gardens drama. Let me just check how many... Oh, G-Man. How many more cases I've got? Alright. I think that will do for me. Thank you very much, everybody. I will be back tomorrow or Tuesday. We're going to carry on with these. And yeah, it's been really good fun. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. I love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow or Tuesday. You take care. Bye-bye.